Mike Conley Jr. Not exactly an elite point guard in today's league, but the value he provides on the court cannot be questioned. And especially at his size compared to the majority of the players, he without a doubt maximized his potential in the sport of basketball. But what kind of player could he have been if he was just gifted this one attribute from his very own DNA? Throughout the stages of his basketball life, Conley would always turn heads when he was on the court. It was obvious that he was going places. But with Greg Oden on his team, he involuntarily had to take a back seat. Conley and Oden met all the way back in middle school when they played against each other in an AAU tournament, and ever since that very first interaction, they've been the best of friends ever since. They would end up going to the same high school in Indianapolis, Indiana, at Lawrence North High School, where they would win 3 straight state championships. Oden was seen as the sure-shot NBA prospect. It looked like skipping college and jumping straight to the NBA could have been a possibility, but it turns out that his graduating class, unfortunately, was the first year where they implemented the age limit rule, which forced you to be at least 1 year removed from high school in order to enter the draft. Oden received big-time offers and got frequent visits from big-name coaches. They went to the games mainly to see Oden play. Indiana's head coach, Mike Davis, expressed high interest in the big man, but wasn't really looking at Conley because he said he already had an incoming point guard, Armand Bassett. And just that right there was enough reason for Oden to pass on the Hoosiers. He preferred to go wherever Conley went and said that he wouldn't be where he was at without him. They made sure they would go everywhere together. Eventually, Ohio State head coach Thad Matta met up with the two of them and instantly fell in love with both of them, and about a year later, found themselves in the 2007 NCAA championship. Heading into the draft, it was no question that the Portland Trail Blazers were gonna go with Oden as the number 1 overall pick, and it's obvious they made the right decision. And a few picks later, the Memphis Grizzlies would choose Conley with their 4th pick. And almost immediately, it looked like their careers were headed in 2 different directions. Oden wasn't able to stay healthy, while Conley was finally beginning to escape the shadow of his former teammate. He became a vital piece to the Grizzlies, eventually making the Western Conference Finals in 2013, and receiving one of the biggest contracts in NBA history at one point. Some would say he actually overachieved compared to how Greg Oden turned out, and he should just be grateful. But many still see him as underrated, and some years was considered snubbed as an all-star on a few occasions. To show you just how underrated Conley is, here's a graphic of 2 players' career numbers. One is a 6-time All-Star, and the other has 0 All-Star appearances. I'm sure by now you know that one of them is Mike Conley, and the other is Kyle Lowry, which shows you the advantage in playing in the Eastern Conference. Okay, he does have a few flaws, like most players do, but one of the biggest downsides to his game is his lack of hops, so to speak. I mean, it was extremely rare if he dunked the ball. But you know, most players his size aren't really expected to be high flyers anyway. But considering who his dad was, I guess you can say he definitely missed the boat on one of the most important basketball genes you could ever ask for. Mike Conley Sr. You may have heard of him before, and now that you're watching this video, you're about to find out just how talented Mike Conley Jr.'s father really was. Conley Sr. is a former American track and field athlete who competed primarily in the triple jump and the long jump. Throughout his athletic career, he managed to put together a pretty impressive list of achievements. He collected the silver medal in the 1984 Olympic Games, a gold medal in the 1992 Olympic Games, and one more gold medal in the 1993 World Championships. He's been ranked number 1 in the US 9 times in the triple jump, and was ranked number 1 in the world 6 times during his professional career. He also was ranked 8th in the US in the 200-meter dash in 1985. So with all of those accomplishments, it was a no-brainer to induct him in the United States National Track and Field Hall of Fame. And if we take it back a little further, he played point guard for the basketball team at Luther High School in Chicago, and played at the point guard position during his freshman year in college as well for the University of Arkansas. So he does have some experience in the sport of basketball, which would actually come in handy later on. You see, back in the late 80s and early 90s, Foot Locker would go out of their way to get several star athletes from many different sports to compete in a celebrity dunk contest. They made sure to stay away from former NBA players as much as possible. The event was mainly meant for football, baseball, and track stars to see just how much they can utilize their abilities on the hardwood. And let me tell you, Mike Conley Sr. would dominate the event almost every year. He won back-to-back contests in 1988 and 1989. But perhaps the most star-studded cast would participate in the 1992 Celebrity Dunk Contest. This one featured baseball legend Ken Griffey Jr., Hall of Fame wide receiver Chris Carter, all-time home run record holder Barry Bonds, primetime Deion Sanders, all-time Dallas Cowboy great Michael Irvin, and of course, the track and field superstar Mike Conley Sr. Man, this dunk contest puts today's contest to shame. Well, at least when it comes to the big names. I mean, can you imagine having something like this nowadays? That's like getting Odell Beckham, Bryce Harper, T.O., Mike Trout, and Usain Bolt to compete against each other. That would be insane, but in today's sports world, they probably wouldn't want to risk any sort of injury. Throughout the show, each contestant put up a pretty good fight, considering that basketball wasn't their main specialty. But at the end of the day, none of them could compete with Conley, as he would save his best for last, walking to the other end of the court while his wife watches nervously.
Go for the spectacular one. He'd like to take off from behind the foul line. Is he going to do it? Can he do it? Yes, he does! An outstanding jump! From behind the free throw line, Mike
Conley effortlessly jumps from the foul line, and it looks like his foot might have actually been a few inches above the line as well. And what makes it even more impressive is that he uses his left hand to palm the ball, when really he's actually right-handed. A dunk from the free throw line will automatically get a perfect score, which sealed his third victory in this event. And I'm sure there's no doubt that Mike Conley Jr. wishes he had some of that in his arsenal. But I guess we're stuck asking what could have been. Eventually, Conley Sr. would end up becoming his son's agent, along with Greg Oden, Daquan Cook, and Josh McRoberts, which at the time was unheard of for a #1 pick to go with a brand new agent, like Oden did in 2007. Alright guys, let me know what you think about the crazy show he was able to put on despite only being 6'1". Feel free to leave a comment on this video, and don't forget to like and subscribe. Thanks for watching.